Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyamsundar, Krishna Balaram Bal Gopal, Singadev, Bhagwan, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Gaur Nitai, Tulsi Mani, Haridas Thakur, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. Canto 9, Chapter 16. Lord Parshuram destroys the world's ruling class. So we heard how last time in the chapter 15, how Parshuram killed, what's his name? Kirtavirya Arjun, who was a very powerful king, but he stole the cow, then Kamadhenu cow, from his father, Jamdagni. And Parshuram exacted revenge. When Jamdagni was killed by the sons of Kartavirya Arjun, as described in this chapter, Parshuram rid the entire world of Kshatriyas 21 times. It's almost inconceivable to understand this. This chapter also describes the descendants of Vishwamitra. When Lord Parshuram was given the order to visit the holy places by his father, so when he killed the king, the father said to him, "You have committed a sin. You need to visit the different holy places." Of course, Parshuram is Saktavesha avatar. It can't commit sin. But as an example for everybody, he went to the holy place. He immediately agreed, saying, "Let it be so." For 1 complete year, he traveled to holy places. Then he returned to his father's residence. Once, when Jamdagni's wife, Renuka, went to bring water from the Ganga for a yajna, seeing the king of the Gandharvas enjoying the company of Apsaras, she was captivated, and she was somewhat inclined towards him. Thus she failed to remember that the time for the fire sacrifice was passing, and she returned late. Jamdagni understood her mental status and became very angry. He told his sons to kill their mother, but the sons did not carry out his order. Jamdagni then ordered his youngest son, Parshuram, to kill his brothers who had disobeyed his order and his mother who had mentally committed adultery. Lord Parshuram, knowing the power of his father, right? This is an important point. Knowing the power of his father, who was practicing meditation and austerity, killed his mother and brothers. Immediately, Parshuram thought, if I refuse my father's order, I will be cursed. But if I execute, he will be pleased, and I will ask him for the benediction to revive my mother and brothers. So this was really intelligence, individual intelligence. It's a horrible thing to do, to kill mother and brothers. But he knew his father had the power to revive them. So instead of angering his father by by not obeying him, he obeyed the father, and at the same time he got the blessings of his father to give life back to the mother and the brothers. Jamdagni was very much pleased with Parshuram and asked him to take any benediction he liked. Lord Parshuram replied, "Let my mother and brothers live again and not remember having been killed by me. This is the benediction I ask." So thereafter, by the benediction of Jamdagni, Lord Parshuram's mother and brothers immediately came alive and were very happy, as if awakened from deep sleep. Lord Parshuram had killed his relatives in accordance with his father's order, because he was fully aware of his father's power, austerity, and learning. Okay. The sons of Kartavirya Arjun, however, remembering the death of their father, wanted to take a revenge against Lord Parshuram. And therefore, when Parshuram and his brothers were absent from the ashram, they killed Jamdagni, who was meditating on the Supreme Lord. Hearing the loud cries of his mother, Parshuram and the brothers returned to the ashram and saw their father killed. Parshuram was very angry, very sorry. And after asking his brothers to take care of the dead body, he went out with determination to kill all the Kshatriyas on the face of the world, who were determined to kill, who were disobedient to Brahminical culture. The sons of Kartavirya Arjun did a terrible thing to kill Jamdagni. So to punish them, Pashuram went on this spree. Taking up his axe, he went to Mahismatipura, the capital of Kartavirya Arjun, and killed all of Kartavirya's son, Arjun's son, whose blood became a great river. Parshuram, however, was not satisfied with killing only the sons of Kartavirya Arjun. Later, when the Kshatriyas became disturbing, he killed them 21 times, so that there was no false Kshatriya on the surface of the earth. Kshatriyas can sometimes become very strong and can become a burden on society on earth. And this is what happened. And Parshuram's mission was to curtail the Kshatriyas. Thereafter, Parshuram joined the head of his father to the dead body and performed various sacrifices to please the Supreme Lord. Thus, Jamdagni got life again in his body with full remembrance. And later on, he was promoted to the higher planetary system known as Saptarishi Mandal. So he's one of the Saptarishis, Jamdagni, very powerful rishi, very knowledgeable, full of devotion. On these seven stars, so all these seven stars reside, one of the seven stars resides Saptarishi Kashyap, Atri, Vashishta, Vishwamitra, Gautam, Jamdagni, and Bharadvaj. These are the seven rishis. Pashuram, the son of Jamdagni, still lives in Mahendra Parvat. So Pashuram is still on this planet. In the next Manvantara, he will also be one of the Saptarishis and become a preacher of Vedic knowledge. So, now Vishwamitra, who's the half-brother of Jamdagni, he had 101 sons. He also accepted the son of Ajigartha, known as Shunapesha, Shepa, as one of his own sons. Shepa, his father, sold Shunapesha to be sacrificed as a man animal in the yajna of King Harishchandra. So we read that a few chapters ago. When Shepa was brought into the sacrificial arena, he prayed to the demigods for release, and he was released by their mercy. Suna Shepa was greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge. Vishwamitra ordered his other sons to accept Shunapesha Shepa as their eldest brother. The elder 50 of the sons did not agree, and Vishwamitra, being angry, cursed them to become malechas. So, this is one of the things about family life. Children, some can be good, obedient, some can be not so good. So here we see 50 of his children, of Vishwamitra, opposed the father, and he cursed them. The younger 50, along with Madhuchanda, the middle son, because there was 101 sons, accepted Suna Shepa as the eldest brother and obeyed his orders. They were blessed to have many children of their own. Chapter 17, the dynasties of the son of Pururava. So this is the whole chapter. So these are the descendants of Ayu. And just to take a little glance, don't really recognize any of the... Okay, Dhanvantari is an incarnation of Vasudeva, was the inaugurator of medical science. One who remembers his name can be released from all diseases. This is different from the Dhanvantari who appeared in Samudra Manthan. Interesting. Alaka, he ruled the earth for 66,000 years. And then we have here Raji's story. Who's Raji here? Ah, there he is. Right. On the request of the demigods, Raji killed the demons and gave the heaven to Indra. But Indra, fearing the demons, returned the heaven to Raji. When Raji died, Indra begged Raji's sons to return the heaven. But they didn't. They considered it their father's inheritance, but they gave Indra his share of sacrifice. Brahaspati later offered oblations in the fire so that Raji's sons would fall for moral principles. When they fell, Indra killed all of them easily, took the kingdom. So these are took the heavens. Yeah. And then we have here Shonak. Shonak Rishi, expert in Rig Veda. I'm not sure if this is the same Shonak that is one of these sages in Kurukshetra. So that's chapter 17, just description of Pururava's dynasty. Chapter 18, King Yayati regains his youth. This chapter gives the history of King Yayati, the son of Nahusha. Among Yayati's 5 sons, the youngest son, Puru, accepted Yayati's invalidity. So when Nahusha, who had 6 sons, was cursed to become a python, his eldest son, Yati, took sannyas, and therefore the next son, Yayati, was enthroned as king. By providence, Yayati married the daughter of Sukracharya. Sukracharya was a Brahmin and Yayati was a Kshatriya. But Yayati married her nonetheless. Sukracharya's daughters, named Devyani, had a girlfriend named Sharmista, who was the daughter of Vrishaparva. King Yati married Sharmista also. So the girlfriend was also married. Maharaj Parikshit was eager to know the cause of this uncommon marriage. According to Vedic system, marriages between Kshatriya and Kshatriya or between Brahman and Brahmins are the general custom. If marriages sometimes take place between different classes, these marriages are of 2 types, namely Anuloma or Pratiloma. Anuloma, marriage between a Brahman and the daughter of a Kshatriya. So here we got it the other way around. We got a Kshatriya, daughter of a Brahman, is permissible. But Pratiloma, marriage between a Kshatriya and the daughter of a Brahman, is generally not allowed. So this is where we are. Because Shukracharya is a Brahman. His daughter is daughter of a Brahman. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was curious about how Sukracharya, a powerful Brahman, could accept the principle of Pratiloma. The history of this marriage is as follows. Once Vrishaparva's daughter, Sharmista, was sporting in the water with thousands of her girlfriends, and Devyani was also there. When the young girls saw Shiva seated on his bull with Uma, they immediately dressed themselves, but Sharmishta mistakenly put on Devyani's clothes. Devyani, being very angry, rebuked Sharmishta, who also became very angry and responded by rebuking Devyani and throwing her into a well. By chance, King Yati, while engaged in hunting excursion, came to that well to drink water. He found Devyani and rescued her. Thus, Devyani accepted Maharaj Yayati as her husband. Previously, Kacha, the son of a learned scholar, Brahaspati. So Brahaspati is the guru of the Devatas, had cursed Devyani not to have a Brahman for a husband. Kacha had been a student of Sukracharya, from whom he had learned the art of reviving a man who has died untimely. Mritta Sanjeevani. Devyani desired to have Kacha as her husband. But Kacha, out of regard for Sukracharya, looked upon the Guru's daughter as a respected superior and therefore refused to marry her. Devyani angrily cursed Kacha by saying that although he had learned the art of Mritu Sanjeevani from her father, it would be useless. When cursed in this way, Kacha retaliated by cursing Devyani never to have a husband who was a Brahmin. So these are the 6 sons of Nahusha. Yayati, we talked a bit, we're going to talk more about him. This is when Shiva appears before Sharmish, the Devyani and friends, Sharmishta. Thereafter, Devyani, crying loudly, told her father about Sharmishta's behavior. Upon hearing of this incident, Sukracharya was very angry and was obliged to chastise Vashapurva, Sharmishta's father, who was also Sukracharya's disciple. When a Brahmin adopts the profession of a kapota, or a pigeon, he lives by collecting grains from the fields. Unchavriti is called. This is first class because he depends completely on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And he does not beg from anyone. So the Brahmins, they generally don't beg from anybody. They are given donations, but they don't beg. Although the profession of begging is allowed for Brahmin, although it is allowed, but they don't generally beg because they are dependent on the Supreme Lord. One does better if he can avoid such begging and depend on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Sukracharya had accepted the profession of priesthood and was certainly very sorry that because of his daughter's complaint, he had to go to his disciple to settle the grievance. Vrishaparva, however, satisfied Sukracharya by accepting Devyani's demand that Sharmishta and her friends become her maidservants. Thus, Sharmishta, as the maidservant, also went to the house of Devyani's husband. And that's Yayati. Sukracharya warned Yayati, my dear king, never allow this girl Sharmishta to lie with you in your bed. When Sharmishta found her friend Devyani with a son, she also desired to have a son. Therefore, at the proper time for conception, she also requested Maharaj Yayati in a secluded place for children. Although Maharaj Yayati remembered Sukracharya's warning as part of the Kshatriya's duty, he could not refuse Sharmishta. Interesting. So yeah, when a Kshatriya is propositioned, then generally speaking, he has to oblige. So Yati from Devyani had Yadu, and this Yadu is going to be father or the great-great-grandfather of Krishna. Turvasu, Sharmishta, Druhu, Anu, Puru. When Sharmishta became pregnant, also, Devyani heard from a Brahman and was very envious. In great anger, she immediately left for her father's house and told her father everything. King Yayati followed his wife, caught her, tried to appease her by speaking pleasing words and massaging her feet, but he could not satisfy her by any means. Sukracharya again became angry and cursed Maharaj Yayati to become old. But when Yayati begged Sukracharya to be merciful to him, as he had not satisfied his lusty desires with Sukracharya's daughter, Sukracharya gave him the benediction that he could transfer his old age and invalidity to some young man. So Sukracharya cursed Yayati, you're going to become old and invalid. And then Yayati begged Sukracharya, please, I still have a lot of lusty desires. Okay, then Sukracharya said, you can swap your old age with somebody who is younger than you. Maharaj Yayati first requested Yadu take his old age for Yadu's youth, but Yadu explained that he was unable to give up his youth, for he wanted to use it to attain the renounced order in the future. Next, Yayati requested Turvasu. Actually, I don't think this Yadu is the one that is in Krishna's family. But anyway, so these are the 5 sons, and he asks all of them in turn by turn, swap my old age for your youth. Next year, he requested Turvasu, Dhru, Anu. They refused to accept their father's proposal because they were not completely aware of Dharma and thought their flickering youth was eternal. Maharaj Yadu was different from his brothers. To accept orders that follow religious principles, especially the order of one's father, is very important. Therefore, when the brothers of Maharaj Yadu refused their father's order, this was certainly irreligious. Maharaj Yadu's refusal, however, was religious because he wanted to use his youth to become spiritually fully conscious. Whereas the other three didn't want, they wanted to enjoy their youth and not follow the father's instructions. Of course, the father's instructions were a little greedy as well because he wanted to enjoy his senses. But the father is the father. Anyway, Yati finally requests his youngest son Puru to exchange his youth for the old age of his father. Puru agreed to do so, stating that who in this world can repay his debt to his father? By the mercy of one's father, one gets the human form of life, which can enable one to become an associate of the Supreme Lord. So there are 4 types of sons. A son who acts by anticipating what his father wants him to do is first class. One who acts upon receiving his father's order is second class. One who executes his father's order irreverently is third class. But a son who refuses his father's order is like his father's stool. And thus, he was able to enjoy, Yati was able to enjoy, again, his lusty desires. Thereafter, Yayati became the ruler of the entire world, consisting of the 7 islands, and ruled the citizens exactly like a father. He enjoyed as much material happiness as he had desired with Devyani. King Yati performed various sacrifices in which he offered abundant gifts to the Brahmins to satisfy the Supreme Lord, Hari. Although Maharaj Yati was the king of the entire world and he engaged his mind in 5 senses, enjoying material possessions for 1,000 years, he was unable to be satisfied. So this is a really very interesting practical example. No matter how much we try to enjoy in this world, it's never going to satisfy us because this world is full of temporary things and we are eternal beings. And this world is incompatible. Whatever pleasure this world can provide us is incompatible with our very identity, our very entity. So this is really phenomenal example. Chapter 19. King Yayati achieves liberation. The 19th chapter describes how Maharaj Yayati achieved liberation after he recounted the figurative story of the he-goat and she-goat. After many, many years of sexual relationships, enjoyment in the material world, King Yayati finally became disgusted with such materialistic happiness. Now, that may not happen with everyone. We may never become disgusted or realize the futility of material happiness, in which case we continue in this world. When satisfied with material, satiated with material enjoyment, he devised a story of a he-goat and she-goat, corresponding to his own life, and narrated the story before his beloved Devyani. The story is as follows. Once upon a time, when a goat was searching in the forest for different types of vegetables to eat, by chance he came to a well in which he saw a she-goat. He became attracted to the she-goat and somehow or other delivered her from the well, and thus they were united. One day thereafter, when the she-goat saw the he-goat enjoying sex with another she-goat, she became angry, abandoned the he-goat, and returned to her Brahman owner, to whom she described her husband's behavior. The Brahman became very angry and cursed the he-goat to lose his sexual power. Thereupon the he-goat begged the Brahman's pardon and was given back his power for sex. Then the he-goat enjoyed sex with the she-goat for many years, but still he was not satisfied. If one is lusty and greedy, even the total stock of gold in this world cannot satisfy one's lusty desires. These desires are like a fire. One may pour clarified butter on a blazing fire, but one cannot expect the fire to be extinguished. To extinguish such a fire, one must adopt a different process. The Shastras therefore advises that by intelligence one renounces the life of enjoyment. Without great endeavor, those with a poor fund of knowledge cannot give up sense enjoyment, especially in relation to sex, because a beautiful woman bewilders even the most learned man. King Yayati, however, renounced worldly life, divided his property amongst his sons. He personally adopted the life of a mendicant or sannyasi, giving up all attraction to material enjoyment, and engaged himself fully in devotional service to the Lord. Thus he attained perfection. So this is a really challenging thing to do, to give up everything, even after trying to enjoy it and knowing, this is not good. It's very hard to give up everything. But King Yayati was very strong-minded. He was able to do it. He attained perfection. Having enjoyed sense gratification for many, many years, Yayati was accustomed to it, but he gave it up entirely in a moment, just as a bird flies away from the nest as soon as its wings have grown. Wow, this is so amazing. Later, when his beloved wife, Devyani, was freed from her mistaken way of life, she also engaged herself in devotional service to the Lord. Yet he had rescued Devyani from the well. But then they both fell in the blind well of material enjoyment. And now Yayati managed to free himself and inspire his wife to escape the well too. That's very, very powerful and very inspiring as well. Any questions? Any comments? These pastimes are very helpful to us, actually. Very, very helpful to us.
A lot of Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Nariman.
Lot of messages in these pastimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
People fighting over then sex and lust desires, and then devotional service and killing one another. But eventually, the devotional service wins.
Yep.
They eventually achieve what they want to achieve.
Yeah. And
it's some the enjoyment.
Yes, that's absolutely right. But it's really hard because when you're stuck in that, like that cycle of trying to enjoy in this world, you just try to find new things to enjoy, but even those will not help. But you can't get out of that cycle, it's very hard. But he did, and that is very inspiring. So, yeah.
In spite of him being such a person who wanted so much desire, that he asked his son to take away his old age.
Yeah.
He was very, very, what I would say, swarthy. Jealous. Not
very
swarthy.
Yeah, very selfish.
Very selfish, yes, in spite of that. I wonder what happened to the younger son who became very old.
I think that's the next chapter, actually. Yeah, Puru. And he was really blessed. He was really blessed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nariman. Okay, so we can stop there. Srimad Bhagavad Puran ki jai.